Alrighty. Hello, hello, hello. Hello. Hey, Gustavo. How are you, my friend? I hope you're doing okay. What the heck? I have no idea what's going on. What the hell? What the heck is this shit? I ain't added nothing. Fudge you. How we doing today, buddy? Okay. Good stuff. All right, we're gonna get started here shortly. We're gonna get started a little shortly here, but just gotta bring up the textbook here. Be this one here. Hi, Ivan. How are you? Good to see you, buddy. Good to see you. I hope you are doing well, my friend. I'm doing very well. Thankfully, we can get back to doing normal things. I mean, you know, normal is good. I can't really argue with that. At least the computer's working, everything's going okay, so cross our fingers, we're gonna do okay today. Hopefully. Question mark. Things. How did I fix my mic? Well, I realized that I had two mics open at the same time. So the mic on my camera and the mic on my headset. So I basically turned off. Basically, there was a setting to turn off the mic on my camera, so I only have the headset on to be the mic. So I think that was the problem. Is there's two microphones going off at the same time. Hey, Sono! My weekend was pretty alright. It was really busy though. Really busy. A lot of work to do. I'll still have to catch up a little bit today. So, still a lot more to kind of do. How about your weekend, Sono? How was yours? Your car okay this weekend, I hope? Wow, ding dong ditching. That didn't allow you to sleep? What the heck? Why are people ding dong ditching your house? Isn't ding dong ditching pretty old? Hey, Tao, how are you, my friend? Hope you're doing well, Tao. See a lot of people coming back today. That's good. That's really good. Yeah, we are doing the last section of the textbook. What's up, Diego? An angry ex? What the heck? Why? What did he or she do? Your angry ex. How did you manage to piss them off? Last section. Let's go. Yeah. Good, good, Towel. That's good to hear, my friend. How many people have you made mad, Sono? Why do you keep making enemies, Sono? Yeah, what are you doing to piss people off, man? I don't understand what you're doing to piss people off. Maybe it's not you. Only two I know of. How sad. They hate you because I'm Asian. I mean, I'm Asian and I'm not hated. I'm They tracked your IP? I mean, what are you doing? Just trolling on games and stuff? I mean, I don't think that's such a big deal. Some people take that stuff seriously, but honestly speaking, really shouldn't be a drama about it. Nah, you never troll. Are you sure about that? Everybody's got to troll every once in a while. I'll swear on Buddha. Damn. All right. I now okay. Respect there then. Low key. Fair enough. All right. Well, Sono, maybe there's a time to move then to greener pastures. Maybe somewhere that's a little less crazy, I guess. And hopefully you could take your Jeep to somewhere where it's not going to get broken into 3 times a week. Why are you waiting for your younger brother to graduate? Is it just so he could stay in the same high school? It's probably yeah, okay, yeah. That I mean it makes sense if their younger brother is still in high school. That's fine. They want him to be in the better high school, and that's okay. I can understand where they're coming from there. How do you feel about that? Do you want today's class to be short? It can be. It just depends. Woo woo woo. Okay. How about your friends? I have to finish the assignments. Fair enough. All right. Better get started here. All right. We're gonna get going here. Okay. Okay, let's get started today. Welcome back. Welcome back to Monday. Hopefully, you have a nice weekend at the very least. Okay, so I made up a class here last time. That was on Friday. So we did like the first couple sections there of section of chapter 10. Um, uh, Gustavo is here. Gustavo and Ivan are here. They're here. Uh, maybe AFK, but you never. Yeah, they'll be back. So today, just to let you guys know, this is the last section of the textbook. Now, before we start this last section of the textbook here, I have some very important announcements to make. So, first and foremost here, if you are in the 8-week class, if you are in the 8-week class only, okay, this is applying to the 8-week class, then what I have done is I have made up the the second test, and I have made up the final exam. Okay, so the second test and the final exam are now posted and will be due next Monday at midnight. So next Monday at midnight is when the second test and the final will be due at the same time. Um, the second test is 50 questions. I put up a practice second test there. The final is basically a also uh, 2 tries for both. Yes, 2 tries for both. That is correct. Um, actually, I'm pretty sure I did do that. I'm gonna check that one more time, just to be on the safe side that I did do that. Because I thought I did, but I want to be sure that I did do it for the final. Let's go to settings. Oh, nope, never mind. Okay, right. Okay. Okay, so let me go ahead and describe this, right? I forgot. I actually did something a little bit better. So just a tad bit better in your estimation. So for test number 2 here, the chapter 6 to 10 test here, first and foremost, I made it so that way um, you would have 6 hours of which to finish, and I increased the number of attempts to 3. So you have 3 attempts on that test, and I increased the time limit to 6 hours, and I think that should be enough time to finish 50 questions. Um, yeah, I don't think that should be so hard to do in the long run, so that should be okay. For the uh, let me think about that. No, I did that. No, that's still right. Oh, okay. All right. I'm not sure why I did that. Okay. That's kind of weird. But all right. Hang on a sec. Why does that look confusing? Okay. Let me. I had this set up right. It's just. Okay. I just have to change that. So change that over. Okay. There we go. All right. There. I made a change there. I had to do that. Okay. In any case, let me go back here to what we're talking about. So, um, okay. So let me recap this. So the practice test 2 is online. Also test 2 is online. That's over chapter 6 to 10. You have 3 attempts, and you have, again, 6 hours of which to finish. That should be plenty of time. As for the final exam, there's no practice for the final exam. Now, why is that? It's because I pulled questions from both the first test and the second test. All right, so I just picked half the questions from the first test and half the questions from the second test, and I made up a final exam just based off of that. So there's 50 questions also on that. I gave you more time on that one because it's kind of a smattering of everything. You get 10 hours of which to finish that particular final. and you get 3 attempts on that as well. So 10 hours on the final for that, and 3 attempts, and that should be okay. So if you are in the 8-week class, you are required to finish up all the homework and the last 2 tests there by next Monday. Okay, so by next Monday is when you should have that stuff done if you are in the 8-week course. Okay? Are there any questions about that? Any questions at all? Okay, I just want to be sure everybody's good. That's all. Okay, so if there are no questions, all right. There is one more announcement that I need to make here, and this is in specific regards to the people in this 16-week class, okay? So for the people in the 16-week class, okay, so here's what's going to happen. The first test is going to be reopened for the people in the 16-week class. All right, that will be due next Monday as well. So for the first exam, it will be reopened. All right, it'll be again for the 16-week class. You'll get a chance to take that. Again, the same things as the 8-week class had. So again, that one was 2 retries and a bunch of time, and with the practice stuff. So again, I want to keep it fair. Everybody should have the same opportunity and same amount of time and all that jazz. Okay, so that's essentially what I'll be doing there is reopening it up for next Monday on the 19th. So I'm going to actually do that right now because I need to reopen these anyway. All right, so you get 2 attempts in 8 hours to finish, so should be plenty of time to do. Yeah, that's fine. And let me open up the practice test there. Okay. All right. So those have been posted and ready to go. We ever gonna do a pizza party of sorts after this class ends? Absolutely, we can. Sure, we can host a pizza party and stuff. We gotta do all the. We gotta make sure that we're in a place where we can be outside, so we could do all the so you don't have to worry about the social distancing crap. But gotta we gotta be aware about Corona Chan. So you know, but I don't mind doing a pizza party and stuff. Not a problem. I'm down. So I want to get a gauge from everybody here. All right, you guys say you're in the 8, the 16, and 16. Who else is in the 8-week class or 16-week class? Could you go ahead and indicate that in the chat if you're in the 8-week class or 16-week class? 16? Anybody else? Anybody else want to chime in here? Gustavo, are you in the 8-week or 16-week class there? 16, okay. Meh. I didn't know that was so personal. Uh, okay. It just, I guess? Okay, that's fine. Well, Miguel will get the email that I'll send out a little later. Um, okay. Well, viewers will come in, they leave, they come in, that's fine. Let people do what they do. No reason to worry about that. Okay. So, let's go ahead and get started here with the last section. I'm a popular guy. I'm not popular. I'm just a dude, just like you, Sono. You're the popular guy. All right. So, Sono's the popular guy. Get the he's got all the people trying to get after his Asian ass. So, there you go. I'm the punching. Ay ay ay. All right. Okay, so today we're going to talk about solving some right triangles here. We're going to look at some applications. We talked about trigonometry here last time in the makeup class. So we talked about sine, cosine, and tangent. We talked about, okay, how do we define sine, cosine, and tangent in terms of sides of a right triangle? All right, so today what we're going to do is we're going to be able to solve for triangles here. And we'll also be able to do some applications. So I want to start with some applications actually, and we'll work our way kind of around. All right, so let's take a look here at a problem. We're going to look here at number 4 on this page. Is that what your parents say? You're the punching bag? You're like your parents are like, oh man, he's a guy. He can go ahead and take care of himself. You know, we could just punch him all day, no problem. I just get bad luck. You stop. Okay, so let's look at number 4. A helicopter flying directly over a fishing boat at an altitude of 1,200 feet spots an ocean liner at a 15-degree angle of depression. How far from the boat is the liner? Okay, so let's take a look here at the particular picture in question. As we can see here, we have the helicopter. All right. I don't think you pissed off some deity. I think you're just being too hard on yourself there. Bad luck's gonna come and go, but uh, just keep living, keep pushing forward, one step at a time. I used to think the same way for a long time, but I think that maybe it just needed a change way of thinking, and it worked out okay. So took a while though, I will admit that, but you know, I wasn't always like happy-go-lucky sunshine guy. Uh, no, not far from it actually. But I got better. I did better. I was willing to put in the time and the effort to get better. And yeah, and I would say, hey, we turned out okay. Turned out okay. See, I'll tell you guys how. See, the gods blessed me with $650 today. Okay. So what we want to find here is the distance from the boat to the liner. All right. So we want the distance from the boat to the liner. So here we got an angle of depression and an angle of elevation. So let's talk about what those actually mean. All right. So this will be section 10.3. All right. Okay, so an angle of elevation is basically like you looking up, like at a point. So as you can see in the picture there, let me go back to the picture for a second. Notice it's like if I were standing on the water and looking up to like the helicopter, that's the gods didn't forget about you. Again, here's what I have to say regarding this, okay? I will impart some wisdom here, okay? And I will put this in the chat, okay? So don't just hope, create hope. Hoping is good, but creating hope is better. You got two hands and you got your brain and you got 2 feet and you could do that. You could create something even better. You can create your own hope. And the gods could smile upon you. It's entirely possible. Does it come easy? No. That doesn't come but it, you know, at the end of the day, if it's there to better yourself and others, great. Then you've created hope. And that's what it's about. I hope that for the people in the 8-week class, I hope that even in the past 8 weeks, maybe you learned something a little bit more than, what you had from before. Maybe it is better. I don't know. I can't answer that. But I hope I was able to create some hope in the past 8 weeks, with the people in the 8-week class or the 16-week class. It doesn't matter. If I've done that, then there's, that's something that took a while to cultivate it, but it turned into something great. If not, I'm going to keep trying until hopefully I can. Okay, you guys can do the same for yourselves. All right, where was I? Oh, yes, angle of elevation. So angle of elevation is looking at the ocean, looking at the helicopter, looking up like this. Okay, so doing like a salute. All right, so again, angle you make with an object or marker when looking up. Okay. And then there's the angle of depression, which is basically you look down and you're basically saying, okay, what's the angle that you make when you're looking down at an object? Thanks, Sono. I really appreciate that, buddy. It doesn't have to be like a divide between student and teacher sometimes. This is definitely one of them. We're all adults here. All right, so angle depression is again the angle, let's go to the angle you make with an object or marker while looking down. Okay, now if we take a look at the picture here for the angle of depression, notice it's from the horizontal point of view and then looking down. So you look here, and if you're looking down, this angle right here would be your angle of depression. So as you can see in the picture, it's actually not from here to here, it's actually from the horizontal point of view to where you're looking down. Okay, so, all right. Now, we have to find the distance from the boat to the liner. Now, in this case, we're going to go ahead and use trigonometry in which to do so. So we don't have to do a whole lot here. We see we have a 15-degree angle of elevation from the ocean liner up to the helicopter, and we know that the helicopter here is 1,200 feet. The only thing we need to know is we need to know this length here. Now, let's think about SOHCAHTOA. So we're going to think back here. So SOHCAHTOA, okay. So I'm going to put that in the chat because we'll need that here in this case. Okay, so which one of those are we going to use in order to solve for the distance between the boat and the ocean liner? Are we going to use sine? Are we going to use cosine? Or are we going to use tangent based on the information that we have? What do you guys think? Sine or cosine or tangent? Sine, cosine, or tangent? So remember that sine is, again, opposite over hypotenuse. Okay, cosine, CAH, is equal to adjacent over hypotenuse. And remember that tangent, TOA, is equal to opposite over adjacent. Okay, so which one of those three do you think we could use? Use sine. Okay, let's take a look here. So I'll show you what we're looking at here, Ivan. Is that one I could understand if it's a little confusing. So, all right, let me show you our picture here. Here's our picture of our, guy. Okay. So what we have over here is we have 1,200 feet. So that's from the boat up to the helicopter. We have the ocean liner here, and it makes this angle of elevation of 15 degrees. What we're specifically trying to find here is we're trying to find this value right here, x. That's the distance from this boat to the ocean liner. So now let's take a look at it from this abstract picture, but it should be more helpful because it's more abstract without all the stuff in the way. So let's rethink this again. Would it be sine, would it be cosine, or would it be tangent based on what we see? What do you guys think? What sides do we have here in this particular triangle? So again, this side here is the opposite side. This side here is the adjacent side. This side here is the hypotenuse side. All right, good. The answer is indeed tangent. Okay, so notice that we don't have a hypotenuse but we don't really care. We only want to solve for x. So we should only pick a trigonometric function that involves the opposite and adjacent sides, right? So tangent has to be our friend. So we're going to take tangent of 15 degrees, and opposite of 15 degrees is 1,200. And the adjacent side here is x. So all we're going to do now is simply solve for x, and then we'll be able to get our answer for this problem. So let's multiply by x right here. Let's multiply by x over here. So we have x tangent of 15 equals 1,200. Then what we want to do next here, very important, is we're going to divide by tangent of 15 on both sides. Now, why are we doing that? Well, because tangent of 15 here is just some random number. We don't know what tangent of 15 is off the top of our heads, but at the end of the day, we only care about just dividing by tangent of 15, so it's kind of like whatever. Okay. Alrighty. So let's take a look at what we get here in this case. Which I believe, let me go back to the problem here for a second. Yeah, that's okay. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, okay. Okay. So here we have, again, 1200 divided by tangent of 15. And let me check my, oh, that's why. My calculator got reset. Okay, so what we should get here for x here is 4478.46 feet. Okay. So there we go. We got our answer for this particular problem, and that's it. That's all we have to do for that one. So again, SOHCAHTOA is going to be your best friend in this problem here because of how much that it does play a factor. Okay, let's go ahead and try another. Alrighty. Let's look at the next one. And there's some good problems here that is why trigonometry is actually really helpful in real life. So, okay. So the next one I'm going to do is one of the nicest problems, actually, the very realistic problem. That is number 18, a police science problem. So it says, detectives investigating a crime find a bullet hole in a wall at a height of 7 feet 6 inches, so 7.5 feet from the floor. The bullet passed through the wall at an angle of 34 degrees. If they assume that the gun was fired from a height of 4 feet above the floor, how far away from the wall was the gun when it was fired? Okay, round to the nearest foot. So in actuality, we have that there. If you're doing like forensic evidence, it says, where was the person standing, or things like that, and you wanted to reconstruct a crime scene of any variety. Yeah, trigonometry is a great way to do it. Um, you can actually pinpoint exactly where, say, the gun was, or how far it was, or how high it was. And that could lead to extra evidence, such as gunshot residue, or any DNA fragments found in particular areas could be determined based on just figuring out the mathematics about where that person was standing. So you have a lot of possibilities there that could certainly help out in any active investigation or crime scene. So this is a very good question in regards to that. Now, we do need to find out this x value that you see here on the screen. So let's see if we can put 2 and 2 together here. Now, as we can see here, we have a 7'6". We have a 7.5 feet from this floor to where this bullet had entered. So the question becomes is what should we do here for a problem like this? How can we figure out how far away the gun was from the wall there? What do you think would be a good idea? Hmm. What do you think we could do here? I have an idea. So let's go back to our picture here. Okay. So let's make up a new picture based on what we see here in this photo. So there's a trick to these type of problems here, just to let you know. It's not a very hard one, though. It's just, again, visualizing to see what we're actually looking at here. So we need to solve for x here. However, we're given a few things. We know that we can make a right triangle here. From here over to here, and then up. We could do this. Or again, we could go all the way across, which would be a little bit hard. 7.6, so subtract 4 from 7.5. Okay, so that's true. That's true, that'd be like 3.5, so 7.6. No, 7.5 was right. 7.5 was right. No, you're fine there. Because 6 inches, half a foot. So you were right the first time, Ivan. Now you're good there, buddy. You're definitely good there. Okay, so if we have this, kind of goes out to here, kind of goes out to here. Okay, so we can make some sort of triangle here. We do know it goes at an angle here of 34 degrees. So we do know that the angle here should be 34, which means that, yes, okay, that's fine. Let's make a picture. Okay. It's not, oh, guess that doesn't do that. Oh well. Well, let's make it that way then. All right. So we got the wall, we got the floor here. This is what we want to solve for, is x. We're going to go up here. Okay. This is going to be 3.5 feet. Again, this was 7.5. So I've got this part here. I got this 3.5 feet here. So this is how we to include the 4 feet here. Now the most important part here is the angle. Okay, so the most important part here is going to be effectively the angle that we have here. So as you can see there, the angle that we're going to make here, it's going to be, that's going to be 90. So we're going to take, what is that going to be? 90 minus 34. Okay. Okay, so the way we determine this is, I want you to take a look at this 34. This is 34 degrees. Now, if you take a straight angle here from here over to here, this is 180 degrees right here. So this is 34 degrees. This area here from here to here is 90 degrees. And that means that this remaining angle here is 180 minus 90 minus 34 degrees. So that's what we're going to do here in this case, is if we're going to figure out this angle, this will be 180 minus 90 minus 34 degrees. And so if we put that together, that's going to actually be 56 degrees. So this angle here is 56. So now we have all three sides that we need here. We have 56 degrees here, we have 3.5 feet, and we have x. Okay? Now, we need to pick a trigonometric function to solve for x. What would be the best trigonometric function to solve for x in this case? What would that be? Would we use sine, would we use cosine, or would we use tangent? Would we use sine, would we use cosine, or would we use tangent? Okay, so I see cosine. So cosine would mean that I would have the adjacent and the hypotenuse. So this is the hypotenuse over here. The hypotenuse is always the long diagonal on a right triangle. So we have this is the adjacent side here. This is the adjacent side. And we're also given the opposite side here, which is what we need to find. So the answer here in this case is correct. That is correct, Gustavo. It is tangent. So you're going to use tangent here. So we're going to take tangent of 56 equals the opposite, which is x, over adjacent, which is 3.5. We're going to multiply by 3.5 on both sides to solve for x. So put that together, and it's going to be 5.189 feet. So in this case here, the person was about a little over 5 feet away from the wall when they fired the gun. All right. Did you set, I think I know why. Remember to set your calculator to degrees instead of radians. If you have the 8384, hit the mode key and go down to degrees, highlight that, and hit enter. Okay, so just be sure to get that. I think that's why you're getting negative numbers, because you're just in the wrong mode. Cool. All right. Okay. So we're, no problem. I'm here to help. Okay. Let's look at the next one here. Is there a way to do it in your phone? There might be a sine, cosine, and tangent in a side menu on your calculator. I mean, I don't know what phone calculator you got, but usually if you kind of push off to the side or swipe, you may have an extra menu where you could do sine, cosine, or tangent. If not, then go ahead and use like a basic one or internet one. All right. Now, let's look at this last one here. This is the last one, man. The last kind of problem here for these types, for the applications and stuff. Okay. So, let's take a look at what we got here. All right. Hi there, I9. So let's take a look at number 25. So 25 says a forest ranger needs to estimate the height of a tree shown in the figure. She sights the top of the tree through a clinometer, a device that gives her the angle of elevation at 68 degrees. If she is standing 32 feet from the tree, and it is 5.5 feet from ground to her eye level, how tall is the tree? Okay, so in this case here, the picture is really helpful because as you can see here, she's standing up, she's looking up at the top of the tree using this particular device, and then records the angle of elevation, and then sees exactly, how, we can see exactly determine how tall the tree is going to be just using those facts alone. So the picture here is going to be very helpful. Let's go ahead and use it right now. So first and foremost here, let's say this is the tree. So this guy is the tree. We're trying to figure out the height of that tree there. We'll call it x. We also have two more things according to the picture. First of all, she technically is standing right here looking through the particular device. And according to what she has here, it's at 68 degrees. Think we need to use 10. That's a possibility, yes. So we have 68 degrees. And she is standing 32 feet away. All right. Now that's correct I9. That's absolutely right. We're going to go ahead and use tangent here if we're going to solve for x. So we're going to take tangent of 68 equals opposite, which is x, divided by adjacent, which is 32. So the first thing we're going to do here is we're going to take this 32, we'll multiply it on both sides. So we're going to get a value for x here. So we have x here is equal to 79.20. So 79.20 feet is what we have here. Now, here's the last part that is very important, okay? She's 5.5 feet tall. So that means that you have to factor in the height because she's looking through at the top of her head. She's at 5.5 feet exactly. So we need to take one extra step here, and we need to add in the 5.5 feet. So that way, again, we get the total height of the tree at the end of the day. So putting that together, we get 84.7 feet as our final result. Oh, I mean, if you need to ask a question, I9, please feel free to chime in with a question. I mean, I'm not super harsh, believe me. If you need help with whatever, then that's what I'm here to help with. So, you know, I'm not a yeah, just keep it respectful, that's all. There are no rules here. Welcome back. I just want only thing is you got to be respectful and you know, no bullying or homophobic slurs or anything like that. So keep that stuff out. Okay, then if you're 100%, then that's cool with me. No problem. It's pretty chill in this it's pretty chill on this channel, so no reason to be overbearing if you're trying to help yourself, you know, learn and stuff. So all right, are there any questions about this example here? Any questions at all? For you know? Could you factor in the 5.5 before? No. You should not do that. That will actually make the problem significantly harder. The reason why is if you did factor in the 5.5, then you could do similar triangles. It could get really ugly. It's not pretty with 5.5. There's just like no need. You could take the easy way out and just add 5.5 at the end. Okay. Right. Okay, next. All right. Next is kind of a showing of problems here, so I want to be sure that, okay, all right. All right, so those are the application problems. Those are the ones I wanted to focus on first. Now, there are some problems in relation to actually solving for triangles. So we're going to talk about that here. This is going to be, again, important for what we talked about from before in setting up our right triangles there. So again, we did talk about it last time, but let's reiterate that once again for right triangles and how to set those up. Okay, so again, here's your right triangle. And let's say you have sides little a, little b, and little c. So one thing that we talked about here previously in the last class is how do we set these triangles up specifically? Again, remember every respective angle is always opposite its respective side. So that means that big angle A is over here, big angle B is over here, and big angle C, which is again 90 degrees, is right over here. So this is always true for every triangle, not just right triangles, but for every triangle. That's always going to be true. So if you're not sure where the angles need to go in the picture necessarily, always remember that rule. Always opposite of where you deem A to be. So if I said A was down here, so if I said A was down here where B would be, well then big A would be right where big B would be. So yeah, just keep it consistent there in that case. Okay, now it does ask us specifically here, it says, okay, fill in the rest of the table if we're given just, again, a few things. So let's go over that. Okay, and make sure I have that. Okay, that's fine. All right, so let's say we're given here B, here's our example, B is equal to 52.5. And little c here is equal to 81.6. Okay, so there are two things. Little b is 52.5, little c is 81.6, and our goal is to go ahead and find everything else. Okay, that's our goal here. So let's write down what we do have, and then, or what we don't have, and then we're going to find all the other things. Now we don't have little a, we don't have big A. These units are meters. Meters here for this. So we need big B, and we automatically have big C. Big C is automatically 90 degrees. So, but we need to find the other two angles and the remaining side, of course. Okay, so now we have a lot of options here of what to do. So let's go ahead and discuss what we can do here first. So what do you think we could do to what do you think we could solve for first? Could we solve for little a, big B? Which one seems the easiest to find? Yeah, little a, that's correct. Now, what could we use to solve for little a? Well, a plus b is indeed 90 degrees. That part is true. We do have to know exactly, what that's going to be. The old Greeks equation. Well, what is that called? There's a lot of Greeks out there. I mean, there's the Archimedes screw. You know him. I do know him. But do you know him? What's that thing? There you go. Okay, Pythagorean theorem, all right? So we're going to do a Pythagorean theorem here. B over B and C over C, then do the cross. Hmm. I think you're thinking of, yeah, I know what you're thinking of there, I9, but that's not quite right. You might want to think, you're thinking of the law of sines. The law of sines would be a little bit like little b over sine of big B and little c over sine of big C. I think that's what you're thinking about there, which is correct. It's just that you forgot the sine part there. That's pretty important. But if we were to do this kind of going with that, should I mention that Christopher Columbus killed a majority of the East Indies just with his mere presence, or West Indies, I should say? Yeah, a squared equals b squared. Yeah, that's right. So we're gonna have a squared plus 52 and a half squared 81.6. I mean, look, the country isn't even named after Columbus, okay? It's named after Amerigo Vespucci, all right? That's cool. So we get 81.6 squared minus 52 and a half squared. And then after that, we're going to take the square root. That's correct. We'll take the square root of that whole thing. So let's do that on the calculator. That's purely calculator time. Take the square root of that answer. Okay. So what I get here is I get 62.47. Okay. So that's what we get here for little a. All right. All right. Questions so far about that? Hey, Sono's back. All right. Okay. Next, what we're going to do here is we're going to go ahead and solve for big A and big B. Now, to do that, if we just solve for one of those, we can just subtract it out, and then we should be done with the whole problem here. Now, for us to do that specifically here in this problem, if we want to find big A here, we're going to go ahead and we could use either sine, cosine, or tangent since we now have all three sides. Now, since we want to find big A, we obviously want to associate that with little a. So what we're going to do is we're going to take sine of big A, and according to the picture here, that's going to be opposite over hypotenuse. So little a over little c. So we'll have 62.47 divided by 81.6. Now, one of the things that we talked about last time is how do we solve for an angle like that? How do we solve for sine of a is equal to blah, blah, blah fraction? Remember, one of the things that we did here last time is we divided out by sine, or you can't really divide out by sine because sine's a function, but the way you can divide functions is take the inverse of that function and then be able to kind of cancel it out like so. So we're going to take a here is again sine inverse of 62.47 divided by 81.6. All right. All right, and if you do that, then big A is going to be 49.96 degrees. All right. Finally, we can solve for big B by just taking just taking 90 minus, yes, that's correct. Arc sine or inverse sine. That's absolutely correct. There's arc cosine, arc tangent, arc cosecant, arc secant, arc cotangent. Okay, so we're just going to do 90 minus that. So we're just going to go ahead and do that. All right, and so our final angle here is going to be 40.04. And so there we go. We have our solved triangle just like so. And there we are. Okay, so again, one of the things that's really helpful in a problem like this is to keep yourself as organized as possible in this problem. So that way you know what that triangle is going to look like here. Yeah, inverse sine and arc sine are the same thing. Oh, appreciate that, Ryan. Yeah, this is actually me teaching the class. Actually, you're always welcome here in here, Ryan. By the way, probably maybe it's been a while and stuff, but yeah, I know there's a lot of people on this platform who provide, entertainment, video games, and I could do that. I have Baldur's Gate 3. I could show you gameplay of that or whatever, but yeah, if it's something to learn, so hopefully it's something that could be helpful for you in the future. I know that's many of the things I teach can be very helpful. I know this class especially can be extremely helpful for practical day-to-day situations. So there's a lot of different applications for, say, trigonometry, like the police sciences and stuff. The math problems are much funnier than college ones. Well, wait, what? What? This is college, my dude. We're in a college class right now. For you, okay. that's what this is for, college. The thing is that there's not a, it's not like super no, it's not a problem. No, 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 don't be sorry. It's okay. It's like, honestly, it's just like a slight step up. It's like a college course. It's a slight step up. The thing is that usually there's a culture shock, from high school to college, because many high schools, don't do the best of job preparing you for college, because it's gets a little more real in college than it is in high school. But once you do, it's like once you start adjusting, then it's not so bad. Which year of college are these problems? These problems would be, these problems could range. This class in particular, this college is like uni. Well, understand that I'm at a community college, which is like not so much as a university, but think of like the first 2 to 3 years of college would be like what community colleges here in the United States. These problems range all the way from basic arithmetic all the way up to trigonometry here in this class. No, no, Ryan, you can always interrupt. That's fine, dude. Uh, that's very good. You have done well, Ryan, to use trigonometry to dominate golf. Remember, if there's money on the line, always make sure that you're on the winning end. This is very important. Um, but yeah, this is the kind of environment, have I played FF15? You mean FF14? The MMO? Yeah, I know FF15. I haven't played Final Fantasy 15. I played the MMO before. I played Final Fantasy 11 and Final Fantasy 14 for the MMOs. Well, it's not like I don't like Noctis and crew, but I don't have a console. I have You saw my twin. Hey, I don't know what twin you're talking about. I'm just a regular dude. I mean, anybody in this chat can tell you I don't really have a twin outside of maybe rewatching the rewatching the VOD again. Then maybe you see my twin because that is me in the replay. So he's the same guy. Yeah, that is definitely not me. Even my voice is the same. Well, I I believe you, my friend. I believe you. I don't think that I have. I don't think. No, I don't have a twin. I'm the younger brother to an older sister. Heyo. But that's about it, my friend. That's about it. I'm just sitting, chilling, and living the dream. As are these guys. Do you have any questions, by the way, guys, over these problems? Hey, thank you, Ryan. That's okay. Hey, you thought that I looked like somebody. That's perfectly fine if you say so. I mean, it's not a problem. Hey, I trust me. I'm not gonna take offense to that. I've had worse than that. Trust me, much, much, much worse. It's really minor to me. That's not even minor. That's not even a thing. Oh, thanks, I9. I appreciate that, my friend. Look, this stream is about positive. Thank you. This stream is about positive progress. Okay, everybody in my class is always trying to better themselves. I see these guys come in, you know, consistently every single class. They want to learn something. They want to be better for themselves. They want to move forward. And you know, I'm here to be the facilitator of knowledge in order to get them to that next level. You know, at the end of the day, if you want personal progress for yourself, you're going to want to have to help yourself. And everybody who comes to this stream, if you want to help yourself, you ask me a question, I help you, and that's a way that you're, you know, and you take that knowledge, you use it for something, then that's you helping yourself to accomplish your important goals and your dreams. Those are important, and you know, if it helps you along the way in some minor capacity, some minuscule capacity. So if you come in and you say, hey, you know what, I knew just a little bit more coming in before this stream than I came when I before I came in. I said I did my job. You know, it's you know 0.1%. I don't really care as long as it's something positive for you. Then that's all I'm here to do. That's what I'm here for. That's what I'm here for. Diego and Gustavo and Ivan. Yeah, I mean they're all for that. How do you know when to use sine versus sine inverse? Okay, that's fair. Sine sine is used for evaluating degrees, but sine inverse or arc sine is used to find the angle. Okay, so if you see in the example here, to find the angle of 49.96 degrees, I took arc sine or I took sine inverse of that value there to find the angle. But when I used like sine, I could say, well, what's sine of 49.96? That's when I'm actually saying, okay, what's the sine of this particular degree angle? Okay, that's basically what I'm looking at here. So those are the two differences there. One is to actually find an angle, and one is using the angle to find a value. See, I got look at all these people in here, man. got Sono, got Luna, I got some of the bots here, but yeah, need to highlight that. Yes, that's true. Actually, you're right. I should highlight that. Well said. So we'll put it this way. Sine, cosine, and tangent used to evaluate degrees to a value. And let's get that. Let's do this. Hey, appreciate you, Ryan. I hope you learned something as well. You know, it's not a like everybody says life is supposed to be some kind of competition. And I'm like, you're gonna use it when you have it available. I said, you can use those applications in what you do. The decision is yours at the end of the day, but yeah. So sine cosine, so this is the inverse stuff here, by the way. Um, used to find angles. Yes, okay, there we go. Yeah, trigonometry has a lot of applications to real life. That's absolutely true. But if you're going into the trades, that's right. But if you're going into the trades, right, then remember, if you're going into the trades and like you're talking about prints and let's say you're doing CNC machining or anything of that sort, yeah, this stuff is still important. You still have to use that because one of the things that is very important in the trades is that you have to be in the mindset of the engineer who's giving you the print. If you're not in the mindset of what the engineer would like you to do if giving you the print, then all you're going to be able to do is waste material. And if you waste material, you're wasting money. And if you're wasting money, you're wasting time. And if you're wasting time, well, yeah, then you're no good to the company. So you got to be a little careful about that. Make sure you get in the right mindset. If you're not sure, you always ask the engineer. Be like, hey, what do you want for this dimension, or what do you want about this and that? So that's very important. If you want to be productive, in terms of the trades, you're doing welding, you're doing machining, you're doing CNC stuff. Okay, that stuff there, that stuff is, you got to be able to read the print. You got to be able to do the job once you're asked to do so. It's the same thing with electrical diagrams. It's the same thing with plumbing. It's the same thing with a lot of other things that you certainly can be applicable. So yeah, those things are very very important there. What was the previous lecture of the stream? What was that about? Yeah, so the previous stream was about just covering first of all radian measures, linear speed, angular speed. We talked about again radians being an alternate measure of angles that are very applicable in many different circumstances, and again another way to also express degrees. And then also, we did talk about SOHCAHTOA. Okay, so we did talk about right triangles and defining sine, cosine, tangent there. You're an acute angler. I see how it is. Well, based on how my belly looks, I'm pretty obtuse, so I can't really argue that. A little too much Taco Bell. That stuff's gonna happen. You're like, Nah, you ain't wrong about that, Sono. You ain't wrong about that. Not at all. Alphamus is very very good. 7 10 out of 10 course. I see how it is. Now, I guess here's the all right. Let me explain what community colleges are good for. Community colleges are a cheaper alternative to going to university. And well, I'm going to go on a little rant here. So let me go ahead and preface this by saying this. Okay, if you're going for the trades, it's very good because then you can get certified. Companies may sponsor you through community colleges. We have very good resources available, and you could definitely go through that without too much trouble. Um, and it's very, very good for the trades. You'll get immediately certified. You'll find a job. It saves you a ton of money, a ton of money, my friend. The Now, community colleges are more comprehensive than that of U.S. colleges and universities because we actually have to teach more in those classes than standard colleges and universities. The reason why is because they have to be transferable to many, many different places, and because of that fact, well, we need to be a little bit more, on the ball about course material. Usually, people will get an associate's degree, which is like a 2-year degree, which basically effectively, kind of removes all the electives that they have to do for their particular major. Now, this is the part that really makes me upset, is that at a community college, it could cost you, if you live in district or out of district. In district, it could cost you basically per credit hour, maybe like $115 per credit hour, $120 per credit hour, US. Um, and some classes are like 3 credit hours. So you're talking about 360 US, all right, or 4 classes would be $480 US to take that class. At a college or university for the so-called college experience, you could be spending $1,000, $1,500, $2,000 for the same exact class with possibly even less material. And the question is that how useful is that class to you? That's my other point. So if I'm taking a 4 credit hour course at $2,000 per credit hour, that's an $8,000 course right there. That's $8,000 that I need to pay back later. Yeah, that's a pretty big hole to just start from in a class that may or may not be useful for you in your major. I understand that people want to be well rounded individuals, but that's exactly what high school should be for. High school should be for people who want to be well rounded. We should be preparing more in high school and be saying, hey, if you don't want to go to college, okay, then go get trained somewhere else, go get an apprenticeship, go get something else, like in the UK. That's a very good program over there with apprenticeship and stuff like that. So I'm like, those things are extremely important at the end of the day. You want to be able to, when you walk out of college or even heck of high school, you want to be able to have options, opportunities. You're like, now I got a degree, now I have some knowledge, now I can be able to take it to the next level. Do you necessarily need a college degree in some cases? I mean, some cases no. Some degrees are basically not worth it because unfortunately they they just don't have very many positions available, or it's not in demand. An example of a major that I could think of that's like that is architecture. While architecture is an excellent major because of course you build buildings, essentially architecture is a contract to contract job, and many architects have told me you know they kind of regretted doing it because of the fact that they're they wait for the next paycheck, the next contract to come through. And you don't know when the next contract comes through. You may wait 6 months before you start getting, a contract and solid money coming through for maybe a short amount of time, and then you have to wait for the next contract. So, there's very limited options if you're doing, say, an architecture contract. It's not to say that you shouldn't do it. It's just that you have to think ahead. And if you're already putting yourself in a huge financial debt in order to get to that point, that's a problem. That's a problem that I see today. If I see that the first 2 years of college are basically electives and really have very little to do with your major, why are you paying all that money to do so? I mean, that's the first part. That's where the part that I think sometimes, and I know this will be controversial if I say this, but sometimes I think college is a scam because of that. I think college is a scam in that regard, is that some classes are just not useful for what you specifically want to do. You should be focused on what you want to do and not be roadblocked by other classes that you absolutely have nothing to do with what you want to do. And I feel bad about that too, because sometimes I'm teaching math courses that have zero to do with what that person has to do in, for their major. I feel bad because I'm like, okay, I agree you should have basic math down. I'm like, yeah, no problem. I get that. Like you should have at least some semblance of college algebra. Okay. Or whatever. But, to have that many roadblocks in the path to even remotely get there is also equally as ridiculous. So I have a big issue with that, with how colleges are run in the United States, because it's to me it's more of a money grab and basically making the students put in a very compromising financial situation once they are done. And then once they realize how far the degree will take them, they'll be equally as disappointed, because the degree technically only is good for 3 years in the United States. Now, what I mean by that is this. After 3 years, nobody cares about where you graduated from. Why? Well, because of the fact that you should have that experience in those first 3 years in order for you to either stick at the position that is based on your major, or again, maybe move up to another job that may be paying you more or whatever. So that 3 years of experience, once after that, your GPA, nobody cares anymore. Because you use basically college these days to get connections, and if a straight C student can still do as good as a straight A student, then okay, then a company's going to hire them 10 times out of 10. So I mean, that's really the reality of the situation, is how good is, can you get a job with associates? Of course you can. Of course. The thing is, here's the problem, right? Here's the problem. The problem is you could get a job. It just won't be it won't be great high pay, because people have this idea in the United States that if you get a degree, then you qualify for a better job or better pay. Yes, 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 Diego, we did. Um, it's not to say that it's not true, but you don't. I've seen people who are better at things without a degree than with one, because they are better with their two hands, and they don't need the book smarts to prove that they're good at it. One of my best friends is a perfect example of that. He learned his practical skills in the military. He doesn't have a college degree. He'll never go back to college. And he could run circles around any IT in the field. Anybody. And he doesn't need it because college isn't made for him. He's just not that kind of guy who does book smarts that well. But put him in front of a computer and he can work magic. I mean, would you hire that guy? Sure. I would hire him in a heartbeat. He doesn't need a piece of paper to prove that he can do it. Show me how you can do it. Based on your merit, based on your actions. Okay, that's fine. So should I just drop out right now? Of course not. Of course not. As long as there's still a need, then uh, of course there's still a need. As long as people still see his degrees as still having a value to them, then yeah, then that's the problem, right? So, but one thing about the trades that is better than other degrees is that, at least with the trades, there are definite job prospects in the United States. So you can make more money off of the trades than you can in you can make more money off of the trades than you can in other majors, which means you'll probably actually end up making more money. You'll save more and you'll make more at a community college. So sorry for going on a little rant there. It is one of those things that um, it's one of those things that I happen to get upset about a little bit, because I would like, when a student comes in, a student should come in for the best possible for the best possible experience, and it should be practical to them. That's why I like teaching this class so much. This 97 class. That's why this class is my favorite class to teach, because of the sheer fact that it is so practical for what you can do outside in the real world. It is very, very practical. Extremely so. You could say that, I know you could say, well, you could say that for anything. I'm like, but if I were to compare the practicality of this course to other courses, this has the most practicality amongst every other course that I've ever taught. This is something you can take into, the next day and just kind of like being boom, 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 boom. Let's apply that to my life. Sorry for rambling on a little bit, but that's just kind of like my thing about, where we are today, in terms of like education. You know, go talk. Thanks. Like I people come in here, I see civil engineers in here. I see engineers in here. I say if you're an engineer, then yeah, the calculus I could teach you, like that's super practical to you all the time, like 100%, like no question about it, right? Like it would be good. There's some majors that require calculus and then don't really have anything to do with calculus, and I'm like, that's kind of weird. I said, if you're gonna go to do engineering, then yeah, I want to see engineers in calculus 10 times out of 10, no problem. Yeah, let's do it. Like if you were like, I want to major in engineering, okay, let's put you on a fast track to get to be an engineer. Let's get all the relevant classes to be an engineer. You don't need to take poetry, folks. Let's get you to relevant classes to be engineers. That sounds like a good idea. Every class for like 4 years could be like a STEM class or something, but you don't have to take that extra fluff. You could be like, I'm trying to get to my goal. Boom, 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 boom. Let's go. Why pay extra money for these classes that are not going to be relevant to you necessarily? If it costs money, then that costs money and time because you're taking a course that may not be necessary for what you want to do. So yeah, you guys got any other questions? Feel free to ask me whatever. So I'm fine with that. You can ask me whatever you like. It's fine by me. Are we meeting at Texas? Oh, wait. We gotta meet at uh, Longhorn, Gustavo. When am I buying an AE86? Ah, man. In my dreams, I'll buy an A86 and I'll tune it out. We'll go drifting. We'll on a boat. We'll go to Japan. We'll go drift in Hakone, and then we'll be like, we made the experience happen. There you go. Aren't there apprenticeships? There are apprenticeships in the U.S. Again, they're usually sponsored by companies, and they're not as easy to get into because not every company offers necessarily an apprenticeship. There are a lot of them, but when would that be? I'll decide that next class, Gustavo. I'm not sure yet. Um, yeah, you don't. You need to go to a college for the apprenticeship. You need to be hired by a company that's willing to do an apprenticeship. Then it's usually between a program between that company and the college for the apprenticeship stuff. And not everybody does apprenticeship. Usually, people for experience they go through internships, which may or may not be paid internships. It just depends. Which is also kind of meh. I'm not a I'm not sure. Internships are another thing. Like people not getting paid for internships for experience. That's ridiculous. Yeah. So what you could do there, Gustavo, is basically you get your welding tech degree. Once you get that stuff going, apprenticeship will be done through a company. So if you go to the Job Placement Resource Center, okay, or the JPRC, if you can go through them, or you can actually just talk to you can talk to Kurt or Scott and see who's what companies are hiring, because there's always people coming through who want to hire off of Harper anyway. So you could talk to them and be like, okay, is there any companies that are hiring? Then all you have to do is, of course, show and make sure you pass your welding test if they ask you to join. And then yeah, you'll be, and they say they have a apprenticeship degree. They got they'll definitely get you back and cover your costs and stuff. So yeah, there are. I had apprenticeship. I've taught apprentices before. I mean, it's just a different section. Yeah, more complicated than it needs to be, honestly. There's a lot more red tape. In all honesty, there's just a bunch of red tape that's just a bunch of nonsense. Although I remember my German colleague from way back when. I will tell you the story of my German colleague and how she described the German education system. So I remember she's like, I remember she said, she's like, well, the German education system for me was basically based off of one thing. He's like, we have to feel bad about Hitler. And I'm like, what? It's like we have to feel bad. So it's like, well, the first year I was in school, they taught us about history. They taught us about World War One, World War Two. They taught us about how we lost World War One, and how we should feel bad about World War Two. And Hitler is like, okay, that's fine. That's part of history, and yeah, there's a dark history there when it comes to the German past. I said, okay, that's fair. He's like, but the problem was that when she got into second grade, grade two, she was like, yeah, they just pretty much said the same thing in grade two, and they kept beating us over the head with it over and over again. And then it's like, okay, grade three is the same thing, grade four. Finally, she said, just it was like in grade six. Finally, the teacher was teaching the same thing that they were like the previous years. Like, okay, I get it, I get it. She's like, she's like, she slams her hands on the desk. She's like, boom. She's like, talks back to her teacher. She's like, why do we always keep talking about Hitler? I mean, can't we talk about something else in German history? I mean, we have spent like 5, 6 years talking about Hitler, Hitler, Hitler. Please, enough. I want to talk about different her German history, please. So she got. Then the teacher looked at her and she kicked her out of class and sent her to the headmaster. I was like, oh dang. I'm like, okay, that's what you think of history. I mean, I gotta take her word for it, but it's like, I was like, dang. I don't know if that's the truth or not, because that was just from her, just saying what her experience was. But yeah, I mean, am I shocked you would teach something about that? No, of course not. But yeah, yeah, no, it makes sense to like teach you about like World War One, World War Two history and stuff. Like that's the immediate German history there that has like the greatest impact on on current even today it still has a very large impact. It, actually, yeah, seriously, World War Two still has an impact even over 70 years later. It still has a very large impact on what's going on in the world today. So there are a lot of things, a lot of fallout from the end of World War Two, and not just from Germany, from a lot of different other countries as well. I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't know either, but I know one Fallout was one thing that I found very fascinating about one of the Fallouts of World War II was how um, Russia lost pretty much an entire generation of men in World War II. Like literally an entire generation of men. I mean, that's pretty crazy to think. Like, I believe the chances of a Russian man coming back alive was like 20% or some crazy low percentage number. And I'm like, wow, that's and it's like, wow, that's pretty remarkable. I can't argue with that. But you know what? Hopefully we learn from our mistakes and we make positive impacts toward the future. That's what we're after. That's what we're after. Hopefully we don't repeat our mistakes over and over again as many times as possible and we can move forward, move toward positive things for this human culture of ours. That would be very good. All right. Okay, so for the people who are in the 8 and 16 week class, I'll be sending out an email here later tonight in regards to the yes, I yeah. Let's all start wars again. I won't. Okay. Fair enough. Um yeah, I don't want to start wars. I think it's pointless. So people say it's great for the economy. I'm like, yeah, and it's terrible for human life. Yay. All right. Okay, everybody. I want to thank you all for coming out to the stream here once again. I really appreciate the time and the effort you guys have put in. I want to thank everybody who's coming in for the stream here for the first time. Thank you again for listening to me rant or learning something along the way. We're all in this together. So I really appreciate it. You're always welcome back at any moment in time. Okay? I again just want to tell you that all of you are very important to me and I really appreciate all the things that you guys do to make my life very nice and very happy. I hope you feel the same way as well after we're done here. So, thank you again. All right, I will see you all later, and I may be back a little bit later today. I'm not sure, but we'll find out. All right. Okay, everybody, you take care of yourselves. All right. Ivan, Gustavo, Diego, Sono, Ryan, Selvos, Selvros, you have yourself a very, very wonderful day, okay? And night, because you're in Germany and it's super late out for you. All right. Okay, guys, take it easy, and we'll see you later. All right. Take it care. All right, everybody. All right.